If you found yourself recently in possession of a gel plate or you're seriously thinking about getting one, you are in the perfect place today. Watching this video, I'm going to go over my personal essential items around gel plates and gel printing so that you can have as much success and fun as possible once you start printing. So, I got a lot of emails and messages recently about people who were gifted gel plates and or were just starting to use them. And the one question that kept coming up was, what are the most essential things to have when you start gel printing? And that's what I'm going to go over today. I'm going to go over the plates themselves. I'm going to go over papers, paints, additional tools that you can use, but I'm going to really try to limit it to what I think is essential. It's really easy to go off and spend a ton of money on all the things to have all the things. And I pretty much have all the things, but I don't want you to go out and buy all the things. I want you to have the things that are going to make a difference in your printing practice as soon as possible. All right. So with that, we are going to start with the gel plates. Now, I have just about every sized gel plate that there is, and largely in multiples, but I use gel plates probably differently than most people do. I'm using them all the time. I'm using them to film these videos. I'm using them to create collage works and so on. So I don't mind that in my working studio, I have a lot of gel plates. One gel plate is all you need, and it doesn't even have to be a manufactured gel plate. There are recipes online for homemade gel plates. Now, I don't use homemade gel plates, and I've not made my own homemade gel plate yet. I'm going to be doing that soon, so I can't recommend that as an essential. However, I can recommend two brands in particular, and I am calling out brands. I'm not affiliated with these brands in any way. Although if you're out there, you too, I'd love to hear from you. But uh, there are some brands that are not made for acrylic paints. The brands that I use are definitely made to be used with acrylic paints, and they respond well and they create beautiful things when in that guideline. So first, this here is a gel press 8x10 gel plate. The 8x10 size is my all-time favorite size for gel printing. I just find it to be the very most useful size. Second to that would be the 5x7 size, right? Both of these give you so much paper flexibility. They give you so many opportunities to create a lot and in a little bit of space, right? So I love these. This one here is also gel press, I believe. This one here is a 6x6. This is Gelli Arts. This 12x12 is also Gelli Arts. Maybe it's gel press. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but regardless, these two brands, you're going to be just fine using them with acrylic paints, acrylic inks, whatever type of acrylic medium that you like to work with, they'll do just fine on these plates. There are plates that I do not recommend, and I am going to say it. And this is no slight on the quality of the products. I'm sure the quality is fine. But a lot of people have written to me really upset because they can't get the paint to stay on their plate. It beads up, it pulls away. That always happens when you have a brand new plate. But after a few pulls, that starts to stop. And then your plate is ready to rock and roll with the acrylic paint. Speedball gel plate is not made for acrylic paints, right? This is really, really important. If you have acrylic paints that you want to use on a gel plate, if you're watching majority of the gel plate videos that are online, you're going to see that the people using them are primarily using acrylic paints. Speedball gel plates are not made for acrylic paints. It says so in the description wherever you go to buy them, but it's pretty far down in the description. Okay, these both might be from Temu. I know this one was from Temu. I'm going to guess this one. It's called Gel Elf. I have never successfully broken these in, no matter what technique I use. Now, we're not going to go into breaking in your gel plate in this video. I actually have videos on that. In fact, I have a whole entire course on how to use your gel plate, and it's free. I'll link to that in the description. But there's a process that you go through that can help speed up how quickly your gel plate responds the way you want it to respond, right? Both these plates, I have never, this one I've had for 2 years now. This one I've used twice and I put it right back in the bag. They're pretty much useless to me. If you already have one of these, don't throw it out. I mean, you may be able to get it work. Maybe you're more patient than I am. Or you could certainly use it as a paint palette, which would be a great idea. But I'm just saying, if you're here because you want to find out what type of plate to get, I'm just telling you, I would not recommend these. It's just my personal opinion. Having said that, these are my gel plates, and what you should know about a gel plate, a manufactured gel plate, is that it has a petroleum base, right? So when you put water on it, it's naturally going to want to bead up a little bit, right? And the reason why it's beading up is the petroleum. With the acrylic paints, and a couple of specific techniques that I use, once you start using these plates, that beating up, that petroleum is going to, for lack of a better way of saying this, is going to calm down. And you will be able to start spreading your paints out like this. I'm just gonna do a quick little extremely bright purple here. And this is a well-worn plate. So what you're seeing here is there's no beading, right? It's not pulling away from the plate, right? This isn't very exciting because it's a solid color, and I'm just going to do a single pull on it. But I just wanted you to see it's not pulling away from the petroleum in the plate. Put it down, pull it off. Of course, I use the color paint that stains the most in the world, the dioxine purple, but it's fun to use, all right? So these are plates. These plates, Gel Press and Gelli Arts, excellent quality plates. You could potentially damage your gel plate. I'm pretty rough on my gel plate and I've never damaged them. So in those other videos that I mentioned, and certainly in that gel plate class that I offer for free, I go over things to not do with your gel plate that really could damage them. But for today, what we're sticking with is essentials. These two types of plates are the essentials. All right, now it's time to talk about the brayer. The brayer is pretty essential. There are other tools that you can use to put paint onto your gel plate, but the brayer is the easiest, most useful, and very frankly, I think the most gorgeous way to lay paint down on a gel plate. All you do is put some paint down on the plate, and then you just roll it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm calling the brayer essential, right? And I do have a favorite. I'm just going to say it. I do have a favorite, and this may be a little confusing based on what I just said a couple minutes ago about the gel plates, but my choice for brayers is the Speedball soft rubber brayer. All right, they come in all different sizes. As you can see here, I have them in every size, and I have multiples of them. I'm not suggesting you buy multiples of anything. I'm just letting you know what I have. So the reason why I love the Speedball soft rubber brayer is because it's a soft rubber brayer. And what that means is there's something about the traction. When this goes down on the paint that's on the gel plate, and there's give to a gel plate isn't hard. It's flexible and malleable, right? And so when you put a brayer on it, you're pressing down, the gel plate is molding to the brayer is molding to the gel plate, and it's moving the paint around evenly. Or I should say, you can make the paint move around evenly if you like. What I have found personally with the hard Brayers, and the hard Brayers are exactly what they sound like you could knock them and you would hear a noise. For me, they just push the paint. Like, they leave tracks, it's hard. I much prefer the soft Brayer. So if your gel plate came in a kit with a brayer and it's a hard brayer, that's fine. You will learn how to use it and it's okay. For me, the soft rubber brayer is essential. I'm able to smooth out any marks or lines that the brayer makes, because that happens sometimes, where I can't do that with the hard brayer. It just creates more lines. So the soft brayer is, to me, essential. Now, there are other brands of soft brayers, soft rubber brayers, and you're more than welcome to experiment with them. I just always had such great luck with the Speedball soft rubber brayers that I stick with them. So I know it's confusing. Don't use the Speedball gel plate, but use the Speedball brayers. Whatever. It's Jackie, right? So soft rubber over hard rubber for me. Again, if you have a hard rubber brayer, work with it. See if you can make it do the things that you want to do. But if it's not happening and you have just a little bit of money to put into it, I really would recommend the soft rubber brayer. They're a dream to clean, which we'll talk about in another video, but they're wonderful. And I really don't know what I would do without my soft rubber brayers. Now let's talk about the paints that we're going to use with gel printing. And I'm going to make an assumption here that if you're just starting out, or even if you've been gel printing for a very long time, um, it's likely you're going to use some form of acrylic paints on there. You can use acrylic inks, you can use alcohol inks. There's all sorts of different things that you can use on a gel plate. I would not call those essential. I will call acrylic paints essential. And you can use pretty much the entire gamut of acrylic paints, right? So I've got Liquitex, I've got Golden, I've got Blick paints, I've got Nova colors, I've got Lucas Krills. These Lucas Krills were the very, very first acrylic paints that I used on a gel plate. It was a wonderful set. I can't remember how many colors were in the set, but it was every color in the rainbow, and I used these to pieces. Very inexpensive, great way to start. On the other end of that are the Golden products and the Liquitex Pro products that are far more expensive, but they carry a heavier pigment load and they're fine, but they're not essential. I have them because I have them in my studio anyway. What I would suggest, actually, what I think is essential for paints, and again, I'm going to call out the brand here, is Liquitex Basics. Not the Liquitex Pro, although that's fine if you want to use the Liquitex Pro and pay more money. If you use what you have in your studio, really is the first thing that I want to say. I love the Basics. The Basics is pretty much student grade, very inexpensive relative to everything else. And bang for your buck, I think this is, okay, I'm going to have people writing a lot of things in the comments here about this because I'm opinionated about it. But I think this is the best paint for getting a very clean pull with very little experience. When you're gel printing, you typically build up a couple of layers. You don't have to, but build up a couple layers, couple different colors and all that. And then when you're done building up the layers, you put on one final layer to pull the print. Again, we're not going over that in today's video, but I'm telling you this because every time I have pulled a print with the Liquitex Basics Titanium White or the Liquitex Basics Mars Black, the print has come up beautifully. Maybe not the entire print came up, but the colors that come up when you pull the print, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This print here, I did a couple colors, did this, that, and then I went over the final layer with the titanium white. Look at how gorgeous that is. You don't see the titanium white. That's not the point. This paint is like a gripper zipper. It just grabs all the paint below it and it pulls it right up. So I'm calling Liquitex Basics paints essential for pulling prints, right? Use what you have. If you have craft paints, try the craft paint. Just don't get upset if you see me pulling a gorgeous print and you can't replicate it, or Elizabeth St. Hilaire. It's because we're using the right paints for the part of the print that we're working on. I'm telling you, these are the bomb. They are. Okay. Having said that, go ahead and play with all different types of acrylic paints. Now, these are soft-bodied, somewhere between soft and heavy body. These Lucas Krills are, again, somewhere between soft and heavy bodied. I've got golden open paints. These are gorgeous. They're open, meaning they have open medium inside the acrylic paint, which means they stay wet longer, which allows you to manipulate them on the gel plate longer. Very cool, right? But not essential. Blick fluid acrylics, right? I have a whole studio filled with golden fluid acrylics, and very frankly, I use fluid acrylics more than any other paint when I'm gel printing, but it's because it's the paint that I have most of in my studio. Blick, for significantly less money, has a beautiful line of fluid acrylics. Actually, all the Blick paints I'm super impressed with. So all of this is to say you've got choices in the types of paints you have. The Matisse, there's brands beyond brands to buy, but you don't need them all. If I were just starting, I would start with a basic blue, a basic red, and a basic yellow, plus white and black, right? Essentials. Other than that, have fun with the paints. I mean, this iridescent, you're going to see this in an upcoming video. The things that actually I use the iridescent in both of these, it's not picking up as iridescent, but there's a light quality that makes it gorgeous. Not essential, but super fun, right? So I want to make this clear before we move on to paper. What I'm calling essential here is Liquitex Basics, Titanium White, and Mars Black. Beyond that, everything else will work. You just want to make sure you use these as the last two pulls, all right? I hope this section on the paints makes a lot of sense, as brief as it is, because the world of paint, I'm looking over here, you'll see this when I do the video that I was telling you about where I show you everything in the refresh. This is just filled with every type of paint and medium imaginable, which brings me back to mediums, which should fall into this category of paints. The gel plate, you can use any acrylic medium on the gel plate. You're going to get different results. You would do that for different reasons. Not essential, right? It may become essential in your practice, but to start with, not essential. All right, we're going to move on to paper because this is important. We're going to talk about a couple things having to do with paper, and I go into paper in great detail in the free gel plate video course that I mentioned. But for now, we're just going to talk about the absolute essentials. And I consider regular printer paper, just copy paper for your printer, to be my number one most essential choice for gel printing. It takes the paper off the plate beautifully. You can collage with it like a dream. I use it all the time. Both of these were done on copy paper. Now, I know a lot of you are going to come back with the question, but is it archival? You will have to check. There's a very inexpensive pen, and I will put the pen in the description, and it's a pH tester. And all you do is you get a little wet, you put it on the paper. If it turns purple, it's archival. If it doesn't, I may have this backwards, but if it doesn't, it's not archival. You would have to test the paper on your own. I am not concerned about the papers I use being archival. If I were going to sell a piece, like the giant oyster piece that I will be working on starting just in a week, um, that's been a year in the making, and now I finally have the space to do it, so I can't wait to show you that. But once I start working on that, which will be a piece that I hope to sell, I will be concerned about a lot of the papers that I use on it, right? And that may become an issue then. But for regular day-to-day journal work, collage work, I'm not worried about that. So copy paper, but the paper I use the most, this is my favorite, but the paper that I use the most is good old-fashioned newsprint. Definitely not archival, and I don't worry about that at all. It's so inexpensive that I can play and play and play on the gel plate. I don't have to be precious with it. I don't have to worry about making mistakes on the gel plate because I'm going to ruin a piece of really expensive paper. Cheap as dirt. I mean, I used some of this the other night to build a fire in our fireplace, and I didn't worry about that I took it out of the studio because it's so inexpensive. But it's great for pulling prints off the gel plate. And this particular size that I have is the 12 by 18, I believe. 12 by 18. I'll have the actual dimension in the description, right? So what I love about this size paper and what I love about the 8 by 10 or what is it, 8.5 by 11 copy paper is that you can get multiple prints on one sheet of paper depending on what size gel plate you use. So here's that my beloved 8 by 10 gel plate. I'm able to get 2 prints on one piece of paper. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could have 4 prints on one piece of paper and just decide when I'm collaging, what I want to use. But this can help you save space and save money by doing multiples on one sheet of paper. So again, this particular size will accommodate 2 8 by 10 gel prints, and the copy paper will accommodate either one complete gel print or 2 5 by 7 gel prints. Food for thought, because here's what happens. When you start gel printing, when you fall in love with gel printing, and I know a lot of you already know this, sometimes you just can't stop yourself, and it's a beautiful thing. So I highly recommend that. Those two I would call pretty essential for me. And out of the two of them, the most essential would actually be the copy paper. Some of you will not want to use the newsprint, and that's just fine. I do want to show you something though. Hang on one sec. All right. So these papers I grabbed from a box that I keep, like blue prints that fall in the blues, greens, and purples category, right? And it's just a big box that I have. And every once in a while, I'll put my hand in there and I'll pull out a piece of paper. But what I wanted to show you is because these were dated. These are prints that I made years ago. That one's not dated, but it's all from about the same time in the pile. So this is 2022. This is a piece of newsprint. You can see it's newsprint. And the whiteness of the paper has, yellowed a little bit when you put it up against the rest of the paper, right? That's yellowed a little bit. The print itself is gorgeous. Like, I have no problem with this print and any of these really, and this was all just about the same time frame. I mean, look at these. These are all a newsprint and they're holding up just fine, right? So the archival issue, let it be an issue if that's the thing that is really important to you. It's not important to me, and I love gel printing. I'm not going to let being afraid of what will happen to the gel prints later stop me from doing it. Okay, so again, just I wanted to show you that you can print on things as cheap as newsprint and do just fine. But since this video is about essentials, I would say this. If you have a new gel plate, or if you have a gel plate that you haven't used in a long time, or you just want to start playing with it more, Go grab yourself a ream of copy paper and go to town and just make papers until the joy runs out of you. All right? So those are the two essentials. I'm going to tell you about one more paper. I'm not going to go into the medical exam paper and all those specialty papers. Those I have in other videos, and they are not essential. Uh, this paper here is called mixed media paper. And again, I like the size because it's a big size. I think this is actually 12 by 18, and that other newsprint is 12 by 16. Regardless, it's a nice heavy weight. I want to say it's 90 gram. It'll be in the description. But it's a beautiful paper to print on. I like the size, particularly for my larger plates, but also it gives a nice quality for tearing in collage and all that. So it's a great paper to use for gel printing. Not essential, but this would be the first step up in paper that I would take after the copy paper and the newsprint. All right. I wouldn't go to watercolor paper right away because watercolor paper is expensive. And when you are on a gel printing tear, you can lose an hour quickly and create tons and tons of pieces of paper. You don't want to be doing that with a paper that's expensive. Got it? All right. One of the things that people enjoy most about working with the gel plate is that you can use things on the gel plate to remove paint, to add paint, to manipulate paint, to make your prints even more fascinating. And some of those things I'm going to talk about. I wouldn't exactly say that any of these things are essential, but at one point or another, you're going to find yourself using items like these. And so I just wanted to bring them up here. It's fun to create gel prints where you get a solid color on a piece of paper, or you have roll-off paper where you're cleaning your brayer in between the different colors, and the roll-off paper is gorgeous and you can't wait to use it. Sometimes you want something more planned, right? And so you'll want to use things like stencils or stamps or even masks, right? And put them down on the gel plate, and you can get different effects by doing that, which is all very interesting. And it allows you to have more creative freedom. None of these are essential, but you will at some point want to explore with, at the very least, a stencil or some masks. So a A big favorite for people, if you wanna try out stencils and masks, is to take the packaging that you get, like Tyvek packaging, sometimes FedEx packages come in it. It's like a plasticky type paper. Instead of just throwing it in the landfill, cut it up and use it as masks. You can use stencil material as masks. You can use pretty much anything as masks. You could use paper as a mask, put some paint down. Let's do this. This is completely unplanned. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I just wanted to show you that, you can get all sorts of different. Where did that purple go? Oh, it's right here in my hand. Okay, so I'm just going to go like halfway here, put this piece of paper down, and then lick some of that off. Okay, nothing wrong with that. And then maybe put in some teal. Right. And then, like, example on the fly, not so great, but you're gonna see what I mean in a second. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? That's was unintentional, but I'm happy it happened. So there's another print. Here's another print. And then you could go over the whole thing with the titanium white, like I was telling you about a moment ago. Believe me, I have so many videos on gel printing, and I'm going to link to them so you can see them. And I'm also going to link to that free course because that free course gosh, 5,000 people have taken that free course, and it's really helped. So if you haven't taken it yet, I really highly recommend it. So there we go. We're going to put this on here, and then we're going to let that titanium white work its magic. Again, as I said, these are not essential, but you will have so much fun using them. So I wanted to put them in your brain. You can make your own. This stencil here is from Joggles. I love Joggles. This is, I think, part of the Georgia O'Keeffe series. Another place to get stencils that's fantastic are PM Artists. So make sure you check out their website. Great stencils, or just make your own. It's no big deal. So I'm going to take this off and look at, because we had different sheets in here, it just created different patterns and all this. Would I frame this? No, probably not, but I sure would use it in a whole bunch of collage. So I just wanted to show you that there are fun things that you can do with outside materials. Botanicals, things out of your refrigerator. One of my favorite prints I've ever made was using, it was a very, it was a portobello mushroom that had gone past its due date, let's just say, and I just brought it out and I pressed it down on the gel plate, and it created the most gorgeous starburst pattern. That's the beauty of gel plate. You never really know what you're going to get when it comes off the plate, and it's always a delightful surprise. So I wanted to go over those. A couple of things that, just real quick, other items that are not exactly essential, but that I personally don't know what I would do in my studio without them. First off is a fine mist sprayer of water. I use this a lot. You can use it to clean your plate. You can use it to thin out your paints. You can use it to create super cool effects. I use it for everything, truthfully. I don't think there's a single video, 107 videos now that I've made that didn't include my continuous spray mister, because it's fantastic. A lot of people like to use a Baron, all right? So it's just a flat surface. I should really clean it. The paint isn't raised on here, but it could become a problem. All this does, it just makes sure that paper stays stuck to the gel plate. There are some techniques where you'll want to leave a piece of paper on the gel plate overnight. And when you pull it up the next morning, it pulls up all the color and it's gorgeous and it's lovely. Other times you're going to want your paper on there just for a half second, and you're going to want to pull it off right away. I do that a lot when I have too much paint on my gel plate. I'll do a really quick pull to get some of it off and then go back in and really manipulate it the way that I want for the print. A Baron ensures that the piece of paper that you have on the plate is completely flat and that the entire paint has coverage with the paper, right? So definitely essential. This is not essential because there's other things you could use. You don't have to buy a Baron. This is actually the Blick brand of Baron. You don't have to use this. You can use, if you have the top of a jar that's completely flat. I don't have an example of that near me right now to show you, but if it's completely flat, you could use that. You could just use your hands. It's a lot less accurate with your hands than it is with a Baron. It's just fine, right? And then once you get that adhesion and you pull your print, and things are lovely and beautiful. Another tool that I use a lot with the gel plate is a silicone paint shaper. Not essential. Not essential for you necessarily, completely 100% essential for me. Between this and the Catalyst wedge, you've all heard me say this a million times unless you're brand new here, these are extensions of my hand, right? Everything I do, whether I'm working super large or very, very small, usually one of these two tools are in my hand. So for me, essential, you maybe not, and that's okay. Right? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to sum up the actual essentials from today. For your gel plate, I want you to have a quality gel plate that you can afford. Please don't be sucked in by the very, very inexpensive gel plates that you can find on Temu or other sites. Um, you will be sorely disappointed, and it's likely you will never get the results that you really want. So a gel plate from Gelli Arts or Gel Press are your best bets, says Jackie. Do not get a speedball because it will not work with acrylic paints. If you want to use printing inks, then definitely get the speedball gel plate. But very few people I know want to use the printing inks on the gel plate. They really want to use acrylic. So Gelli Arts or Gel Press. Speedball Brayers, soft rubber Brayers, right? Essential for me. The paper, copy paper, absolutely essential. It's inexpensive. I don't know how many pieces of paper are in a ream, but it's a lot of paper, and you will learn so much and have so much fun. If I can give you an essential exercise to do with your gel plate, pull out your gel plate and keep working on it until you have gone through an entire ream of paper. You are going to learn so much. Don't worry about what you're going to do with the papers. I've got a ton of videos on what to do with the papers. I just want you to get your hands moving, and you can do that super easily. Then in terms of paints, I'm telling you, the Liquitex Basics are the essentials, and anything else that you can get or afford or that you have will work just fine. You will find ways to make it work. I hope this video answered any questions that you might have about what you really need to get started. There's so much content out there. There's so many videos out there that will show you really fun ways to use your gel plate. I just wanted you to start off with the best possible starting point. If you have any questions at all, I want you to write them down in the comments. You can email me. I want you to join the free gel plate video course. It's amazing, and you will learn so much. You'll learn how to take care of the plates. You'll learn how to use them. You'll learn how to prep it, expanded views on papers, and so on. And I thank you for being here. This is the first video of the year. It's not my typical video. I listen to you when you ask me for things, and enough of you asked me at one time that I thought this would be the right thing to do today. So thank you for being here. I hope to see you next week. Please subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when the next video comes out, and the next video is a gel printing extravaganza. So this week, practice, and then join me next week while we gel print together. Take care.